So that I didn't have to do it, John raised up the mic for me. He made his own short joke this time, so we appreciate that. Thank you. As John said, my name is Trivunovic. I have been in this space for a really long time. Coming to this event feels a little like a high school reunion. I see lots of my old friends and colleagues here. I am reminded, I think United Airlines is here. That was where I started my career in email, very accidentally. Have worked with a number of the brands here over the years, and I appreciate the camaraderie. It's a really interesting space to kind of live in. Lots of frenemies here. We have competitors that, all love each other, which is weird, but it's great. It's a great, fun time. I am going to tell you guys, I typically am a walker. I would typically walk the stage and have a lot of fun, but Dan Nashar took a picture of me today that is probably the worst picture I've seen of myself in a very long time, so I've decided to position myself strategically behind this podium. So thanks, Dan. I think that if we were giving out awards today, Ryan, you're winning for most questions asked, so way to go. All right, so in all seriousness, I think that, as we look at this industry, like I said, I've been doing this about 23 years, and not a lot has changed by way of topicality and the things that we talk about in this industry. If I hear, personalization at scale and all of the fun things that we talk about, all been possible for a very, very, very long time. The reality is that the industry, the customer, they just don't care. Like, it really hasn't mattered as much as it has now. And so we're starting to see a lot of shift in conversation around, the need to actually move into these things that have been possible for a very long time. I think that, a lot of conversation around AI, I was talking to some folks earlier today. It is a conversation that is had frequently, but I think that it is about the context and how and where you're positioning AI in your conversation. As we're looking at it, it is really starting to come together, bringing email and AI together in a way that is functional and practical and really addresses some of the things that, a lot of people have been talking about here is how do we make some of the bullshit that we have to deal with easier? How do we find the erroneous ampersand in the thousands of lines of code in our email before the message goes out the door? And so as we're working with brands, a lot of what we're talking about is the practicality of where email and AI come together. A lot of it is really focused around how do we streamline processes? How do we make the boring things that nobody wants to do better? Somebody said earlier today, I think it was from Paramount Plus, that you would love for AI to start doing more of your job so that you can free up your mental capacity to actually do things that you feel are even more critical, more strategic, and more important. And that's really what we're looking at is how do we take some of these things and make them easy? How do we help elevate the conversations that we're having and really amplify the voice of our brands, our customers, and their processes, honestly, across both internal and external opportunities for them? So inside of Zeta, I've been here about a year and a half. I have toured the industry at a number of MarTech organizations. But one of the things that I really love about being here is the way that AI has been embraced inside of our platform as an opportunity to make everybody's life easier. And so, we have a couple of tools that have really recently kind of launched or in beta with a handful of clients. It starts with the QA agent. So this is really the tool, the agent that we use for our clients to be able to QA their email, QA their communications, their code. We have some clients who are actually using it to fact check themselves to make sure that the inputs that went into the campaign process are actually accurate. We're using it to compare against a campaign brief or a creative brief so that we can make sure that ultimately the output is what you expected, what you were hoping for. We've found that it is significantly reducing the amount of time that brands are taking to get from email creation to out the door. We also have a few clients who are using this for compliance checks, right? Like when you have really heavy compliance requirements, being able to leverage this to check compliance. These are, agents that are kind of built inside of a library that exist in the platform, but are all very customizable. We have an entire team of people inside the organization who are focused on AI adoption, working with our clients to not only customize tools like this, but help them create tools, string tools together so that these agents can actually perform lengthy tasks. We also, inside of the platform have a multi-channel environment, so it's not just email. We have the ability to bring together, all kinds of, paid and owned media opportunities. And we're really looking at, inside of this campaign monitoring opportunity is how do we take the data from all of those channels and really learn something about it in a conversational way. So you don't have to do a whole lot of spelunking in the data. To do a lot of querying. You can ask some very pointed questions to understand how are things performing, what channels are working best for you, where should you invest dollars to shift growth and opportunity. And so these are some of the tools that kind of exist inside of the platform. Inside of campaign monitoring, also using it for anomaly detection. How do you determine, did the right number of people qualify for the offer that you thought? Did the data load that needed to load to launch that campaign? So there's some anomaly detection that's happening inside of here as well. It's also leveraged to build campaigns or complex experiences. So in this example, and it's kind of fun, it's, how do you, I want to build this abandoned cart program for sneakerheads. Sneakerheads isn't necessarily a data flag inside of our environment. It is an interpreted kind of audience that the AI brings together, the first-party data plus our Zeta data to help define what a sneakerhead would look like, and then ultimately build the campaign experience for you with all of the decisioning, all of the opportunities to then go in and be able to make edits, modifications, and changes as you want before you send that out the door. So there's a lot of things in here that are trying to simplify, things that can be pretty complicated. The final thing here, so this for me is a little controversial because I'm not a big fan of AI for creative. I hate AI for creating imagery. I think it is amongst the least creative things that AI can do. But what we are finding is that there is a massive opportunity to leverage the AI to bring together your assets. What are the things that you have in your DAM? What are some of the campaign or some of the things in your CMS that the AI can actually tap into? And through a conversation, say I want to create this email, it can tap into all of those assets, pull them together, assemble them into a fully formed HTML document, and then iterate for different channels. So how do you take that and not replicate it, but iterate it for SMS, iterate it for push, iterate it for social or display so that you can have a connected experience across kind of that trajectory. So, this is just kind of scratching the surface on some of the tools that we're bringing together. I think it's helpful to understand how brands are using some of this stuff. It's very nebulous and wide, and so really being able to see how people are tapping into it, I think, is a helpful way to align on what you should do and what you can consider and where you can start exploring. Like I said, we look at this really around the elements of productivity. There's some elements of personalization, audience ideation, content creation, coding, and really being able to look at the predictive opportunities. So I'll leave you with this. You guys do have a white paper here on your table for you, and I just want to tell you quickly the genesis of this. So our creative organization really wanted to do a lookbook for email, and so we polled our entire organization. We asked everybody what their favorite, most memorable email was. Didn't have to be a client of ours, just what did you like and what did you like about it? And as we kind of went through that process, we had everybody kind of vote on it. What's your favorite? Why do you like it? It was, as you can imagine, a lot of the warm and squishy, like the emotional connections that people have with the brands that they work with. And just for fun, we decided we would take all of those emails and run them through this AI agent that we have inside of our creative organization. And it ranked all of the email creative we did. And so that white paper actually was the output of the juxtaposition of the human response to the email creative and the brands they work with and what the AI thought. And so we really started embedding this into the conversations that we're having creatively with our clients on how to balance the two, because you have to be able to address the best practices and the practicality of what AI detects, but also without losing that emotional appeal. So we have lots of people here with us today. You guys feel free to reach out to us if the people who are in the room would like to stand up, raise their hand. We've got Dan and Chris, Demetrius, Scott, and Jason from our recent Live Intent acquisition. Love to have them as part of the family. You guys enjoy your activities today, and we're here if you guys have any questions. So thank you guys. Enjoy the rest of lunch.